Hey everybody, so the fall is one, my favorite time of year, and two, an amazing time for books. So today I'm here to tell you about 8 books coming out this fall that I know you're going to want on your TBR. So without further ado, let's get started. Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. It's Russell with Ink and Paper Blog. How are you all doing today? As always, I hope you're happy, I hope you're healthy, I hope you're safe, and of course I hope you're reading an amazing book or 2 or 3 or 4. The summer is coming to an end. We're having some final heat waves here in Northern California, but it is starting to cool down. It's starting to get dark a little earlier, which is nice. I've been working hard and also been reading a ton. I have finished 12 of 13 books from the Booker long list. The 13th book is not out yet, so I have read everything I can read there. And I have been reading so many other amazing books. And today I'm here to talk to you about 8 books that have just come out or are coming out over the next couple of months that I'm sure you're gonna want on your TBR. So, without further ado, let's get out our pen, our paper, our Goodreads, however you keep track of your TBR. If you are so able, please get these books from your local independent bookstore, or if you're a library user, get yourself a library copy as soon as possible. I'm going to start with the 2 books that I think are out currently, and that is, we're going to start with Where the Forest Meets the River by Shannon Bowring. This is out from Europa editions. This is a sequel to the novel The Road to Dalton, which I read a couple of years ago, a year or so ago. And I absolutely adored it. Now, Dalton is a little town in Maine, and we get a cross-section of the many people that live there from all different aspects of life, from the wealthy on the, I can't even say it or I'll be in trouble here on YouTube, what they call the wealthy street, where the rich people live, to the local policeman, to the librarian, to the florist. Everyone is encapsulated in this. Now, in the first book, Dalton had dealt with some tragedy, and this book is sort of the whole entire town figuring out what to do after this tragedy occurred. I don't want to go into it too much because what I want to make sure you do is read the first one. If you are fans of any sort of small town collective narrative, so I would say Olive Kitteridge or Lucy Barton novels by Elizabeth Strout. Oh my gosh, I'm totally blanking on his name. Somebody's Fool. Is that Richard Ford or is that Richard? Oh, you know, I'm totally blanking. Richard Russo. His Somebody's Fool series, where you get sort of this cross-section of the small town of life, and you just get to dive into these people and who they are and what makes them tick. These 2 books will fill that niche for you so much. I love the way Shannon writes. I love the people she creates. I love the stories she tells. And I love that Europa sent this one to me earlier. I am a good section into this one, about 50 pages. Totally loving it, totally loving being back in Dalton. So that's Where the Forest Meets the River by Shannon Bowring, and this is the sequel to The Road to Dalton, out from Europa, and please pick them both up. They are both absolutely fantastic. The next book that is out or just about to come out is actually Mina's Matchbox by Yoko Ogawa. This is translated from the Japanese by, I was going to have this faster this time, Stephen Schneider, and out from Pantheon Books here in the US. This is actually what I'm currently listening to on audio, but I want to thank Pantheon very much for sending me this beautiful finished copy. I am a huge Yoko Ogawa fan, and all of her books are so different. So this book takes place in 1972 Japan. It's the story of a single year. Our main character, whose father has passed away many years earlier from stomach cancer, has been sent to her rich aunt's home, as her mother is going to go to Tokyo to learn how to be like sort of the next level of dressmaker, but they can't afford for the daughter to go with her. So our main character goes to live with her aunt, and her husband, who is like the heir to this soda pop fortune. There's all sorts of main characters in the house, from a German grandmother who is sort of like the overarching matriarch. There's a really cool woman who's been running the household for a long time, so who really just is like what she says goes, the uncle and his charismatic ways. But really, this is the story of Mina, who is the main character's cousin, who has an illness, and they sort of create a relationship. And over this 1 year, it's how that relationship sort of formulates into who this young girl turns out to be later in life. It's beautiful. I love Yoko Ogawa. I highly recommend it. I will not be surprised if we see this book on the National Book Award Translated Fiction long list in a couple of weeks. So that is Mina's Matchbox by Yoko Ogawa, and that's out from Pantheon Books. Okay. So I'm actually reading quite a bit of this stack, so I apologize in advance. I'm reading the first 4. I'm in the process of the first 4. The next book comes out on September 3rd, which will probably come out just about the same time this video does, and that is Small Rain by Garth Greenwell. This is out from FSG. Now, this is Garth's 3rd novel. I'm further in this one than I am the other 2. And I have loved all of his works, but this one to me is just next level good. So, the story at the heart of it is the story of a man, a poet, who lives in the Midwest with his partner, who is a professor, and one day wakes up with this immense pain that he just cannot explain. He tries to avoid going to the hospital, but eventually it just overtakes, and he has to go to the hospital. Now, the book takes place in the first few months of the COVID epidemic, and so in the beginning, he's there by himself. And then eventually they figure out, or they think they figure out what's wrong with him, and they're trying to, do all of these tests and stuff, and it's this narrative on his sort of a recovery and everything that's going to have to do with him. But really at the heart of this book is the story of the relationship between him and his partner, L, as he is in the book, and really how they came together and that sort of support and love that they have one another. Now, if you've ever read Garth Greenwell, you'll know his writing is dense. His paragraphs are really often pages and pages, spliced together thoughts, but there's such a beauty to his writing. He tackles all of these sort of philosophical topics from the point of view of his main characters, and he writes beautifully about the world and the situations we're in. His main character is really fraught here with a sense of being lost. He's not used to having this lack of control in his life. So there's a little bit of fear in this narrative, and it is just blowing my mind. It is so good. So please pick up Small Rain by Garth Greenwell, out from FSG. This one comes out on September 3rd. So depending on when this video goes up, you can probably get your hands on it. Next is a book that comes out on September 24th. And the other one that I'm currently pretty deep in, and that is Sally Rooney's Intermezzo, again, also out by FSG. I am a diehard Sally Rooney fan, from Normal People to Conversations with Friends. I have loved all of her books, and so I was so excited when FSG sent me this copy early, and I am also about 100 pages into this one, and I am blown away by this woman's talent. She is just like so amazing. So, set in Dublin, this is actually the story of 2 brothers. Their father has just passed away. One brother is sort of a successful attorney dealing with sort of this conundrum of a relationship between a woman who he was with for a long time, a childhood friend, who he had a real connection with, who he has since broken up with, but she is ill and he is sort of helping her through that. But there's this obvious emotional connection between them. And he has another more physical relationship with a much younger woman, which has all sorts of dynamics that I'm not going to go into because you have to read the book. But he is really struggling in a way with his father's death that I think is even surprising him. And then he has a younger brother who is a chess player by trade, awkward, struggles with social interactions, and doesn't really know how to process feelings. And right after the funeral for his father, goes to this tiny town to do this chess event that he's been hired for, and meets an older woman who sort of spawns in him this desire, and I want to say desire, not only physical desire, but also this emotional desire to connect in a way that he hasn't connected before. We also get a lot of perspective from this woman. Her name is Margaret. And her sort of infatuation with this younger man, she's just gone through a divorce, or is at the tail end of a divorce, and she lives in this small town. She runs the community center where Ivan, the chess player, had his event, and she's sort of figuring out what this connection with this young boy means. The writing is beautiful and poetic and next level. The characters are deep and rich and full and complex and very, very frustrating at times, but it just is such a beautiful book. I'm adoring it. So that's Intermezzo by Sally Rooney. This comes out on September 24th here in the US, and y'all, it is next level good. Have I said that yet? All of them are so good. Okay, so the next books I haven't read, but they're all coming out in the coming months. The next two come out on September 17th. The first one I want to tell you about is Elaine by Will Self. This is coming out from Grove Atlantic here in the US. Now, Will Self was shortlisted for the Booker Prize a couple of years ago for Umbrella. And this is a very different type of book. But this is a novel about a 1950s housewife based on his mother. And Elaine is sort of, she sort of sees herself as a housewife. She's sort of stuck in her home, her child, her husband. And then it says, as she begins to push back against the strictures of life in 1950s America, she undertakes a disastrous affair that places her marriage to an Ivy League academic and former Communist Party member in peril. And this is based on Will Self's mother's real life. So I think it sounds great. Now, Will Self, again, a lot of these writers write very dense writing. Like Garth, I think he is a little bit more avant-garde in his style and his technique approaches, but I love these sort of introspective views of one person's life. I love them. So I'm thinking, if you like Duxbury Newport, is that what it was? Newport Duxbury, I can't remember the name, or like even sort of like a Mrs. Dalloway sort of feel to it, pick up Elaine by Will Self. Again, this comes out on September 17th at Grove here in the United States. Now I'm going to recommend something for your Halloween season, your October season. Also coming out on September 17th is A Sunny Place for Shady People by Marina Enriquez. This is translated from the Spanish. Hold on real quick. Let me get it. By Megan McDowell. Did Megan McDowell did she just win the Booker? Can't remember, not getting it all straight. But Marina Enriquez wrote the book Our Share of Night, which was very popular. This is a collection of short stories. I'm just gonna tell you what it says here, because again, short stories, very hard to summarize in a couple sentences, but she writes about ordinary people, especially women, whose lives turn inside out when they encounter terror, the surreal, and the supernatural. So, if you're looking for something creepy, if you're looking for something for the Halloween months and want a short story collection, pick up A Sunny Place for Shady People by Marina Enriquez, translated from the Spanish by Megan McDowell, out from Hogarth on September 17th, 2024. Okay, I have two more. Hopefully you are writing or typing or getting all of these, because these last two should not be left behind. Let me tell you first about, I'm going to go with, are these both coming out on the same time? Nope, I'm going to go in order. I said I would go in order. Our Evenings by Alan Hollinghurst. This is coming out from Random House in the United States. It comes out on October 8th, 2024. I mean, Alan Hollinghurst won the Booker Prize for, is it A Line of Beauty? Is that what it's called? The Line of Beauty, I think. And this is his newest novel. This is the story of a man, David Wynn. He is the son of a Burmese father that he never met and a young English woman. And when he's 13 years old, he sort of gets a scholarship to a school. He becomes sort of like what's the word I'm looking for? I keep thinking about Pip in Great Expectations. He becomes he is patroned by a wealthy older man who pays for all of his schooling, and he's brought into this world of wealth that he would not have normally been in. At the start of the book, this character, this patron has just passed away, and our main character is sort of reflecting upon that life. Now, the other sort of part of this coin is the son of this patron and his wife, who is called Gilles Hadlow, who is part of the right-wing political structure in the UK and is coming out like all pro-Brexit, all pro-anti-immigrant, all that sort of stuff. And it's this conundrum between these two people, raised kind of in a way by the same set of adults, but one from a very different background than the other. And it is their lives through the years sort of in tandem, but also separate from one another. Our main character is gay. He has a relationship. He's an actor by trade, and sort of, I was enjoying in the beginning of this, he's sort of having a renaissance of his career later in life. The language in just the first section, I'm not very far in this one, I'm only 20 or 25 pages, but the beauty of the language and the way that Alan Hollinghurst puts together sentences is next level. It's so good. So that's Our Evenings by Alan Hollinghurst. This is out from Random House in the United States, and again, it comes out on October 8th, 2024. Okay, and last but not least is City of Nightbirds by Joachim, and this is out from Ecco Books. This comes out on November. I don't have an exact date, I apologize. November 2024. Now, you may remember a couple of years ago, I read Beasts of a Little Land by Joachim and absolutely adored it. It was like historical fiction set in Korea. This is very, very different. This is set in 2019, St. Petersburg, Russia, and is the story of a ballerina. Natalie Leninova has come back after years of being away. She was going to be this star ballerina, but she suffered an injury, and now she's really just devoted to alcohol and pills to get her through the day. She comes back to St. Petersburg, and she runs into really the two ballet artists that really were an apex of her career in life. One is Alexander, who is like the love of her life and really transformed her in her art. And the other is described as dark, treacherous genius Dmitri. Now, Dmitri offers her a role, her starring role back, and now she has to decide, does she want to get back in this world of ballet? Does she want to get back into the world between these two men? Does she want all of that? And how does she fight sort of everything that's happened to her? So I trust Joachim to do a phenomenal job with this, and I'm so excited to see what she does next. So that's City of Nightbirds. This comes out in November of 2024 by Joachim from Ecco Books. Okay, I don't think I've put an Ecco book on a list in a while, and that is my shame because they publish some amazing literature. I'm going to try to hold these up without dropping them. It's quite a stack. There you go. There you go. As always, I am so thankful for you all for coming and watching my videos. If you're a new subscriber, I hope you like what you see and you stick around. If you are a return subscriber, I could not do this without you. As always, I encourage you to read globally, shop locally, and until next time, I wish you happy reading. Bye, everyone.